Since we are going to talk about web services as chapter 7, this is actually more oriented towards networking. So probably protocols will be the name of the game. Samara, check your end, because Kim can see the screen. Something wrong with your end. Kim, you see the screen, yeah? Okay, so Samara, check your end. Right. So web services. Right. We will start with question number 1. Now, this is a comparison. So this comparison is based on a protocol which is request replay request protocol request, or request of a replay. Now it says the following. It says compare the request reply protocol with the implementation of client service communication in SOAP. We will come into this protocol, and it's asking you to give 2 reasons for the use of asynchronous messages. Now obviously with the usage of asynchronous you'll expect delays, so that is why asynchronous messaging is to be used. So the question is on why such messaging or asynchronous messaging is used, or if it is more appropriate to be used in the internet, and then to what extent does the use of HTTP by such a protocol, or namely SOAP, which reduces the difference between the 2 approaches. This is related to time, reduction in time. Okay, so SOAP, by definition, this is a protocol specification for information exchange, or exchanging structured information. Now structured information relates to this request replay protocoling. So it is structured in the sense that it follows a particular procedure or procedures. So the request reply communication protocol proposes a structure or infrastructure consisting of synchronous request reply exchange. This is if time is of an essence, but SOAP specifies the use of a pair of asynchronous messages. Now, think about asynchronous messaging as being out of time, not in time. So in addition to this reply or the request reply protocol, it passes the remote object reference, which is just like an index, some sort of indexing, which belongs to that object, or to a particular object. Compared with SOAP, it does not support remote objects because of the asynchronous behavior. So in the request reply protocol, the method is the invocation of such a communication protocol. Now SOAP uses a different scheme. It is specified in 2 folds. The first one is that SOAP uses asynchronous messages, as we said. This is to be done in order to reduce coupling or closer coupling, i.e. The handshaking the timing, okay, between the client and the server, which should occur with synchronous protocol. That's why it's synchronous. Now the second thing relating to SOAP, SOAP allows the transport of a single document or single documents, i.e. in one batch. Now obviously if it is synchronous, it can do that many times, but because it is asynchronous, it must know that it should be done once and for all. For that transaction, for that session, all documents must be sent in one go. Okay, so the use of HTTP, which relates to Hypertext Transfer Protocol, this is a protocol, application protocol actually. This is used for distributed calibration, hypermedia information systems. With those used, those will enable the request and the reply messages to be related to one another, i.e. they will be somehow given flags, those flags related to those sessions or per session. Okay, actually this response or the HTTP response carries the reply to the SOAP request. Now this is done actually with the use of that flag number. So if the flag or the index number is to be used, it will indicate to the source or the transmitter that this reply is related to a specific index, so it can differentiate between one session and another. This is why the whole system is built asynchronously. It needs those tags or those flags so that you can differentiate between those sessions. Unlike synchronous transmission, everything is done via handshake, and probably the use of message controlling will be more appropriate. But in this case, it is not, because again, it is asynchronous. Question number 1, people. Do we have a question on 1? Well, people can hear me. So, Kuta, it is your end. Obviously, something wrong with your end. Okay, so we'll move to 7.2, or question number 2. This is a comparison. Again, the structure of protocols, namely in this case URL, which is used for web services, with another one, remote job references. It also asks you to state in each case how the first and the second are used to get those requests executed. So it comes in 2 flavors. The first one is to compare the structures and then say something about the execution of those protocols. So first, let us go over the URL itself, Uniform Resource Locator, URL. Now, as you know, or you should know, that URLs specify the name of a specific DNS name, or server as a DNS name. Also the path. name of the resource related to that server. However, for web service, such URL always refer to actually to action to be performed by particular web service. So it relates, obviously it relates to a specific web service. It will direct you to that service for that session. So it is a session oriented locator. That's why it is called locator, because it locates a service. Now the second one, a remote object reference. Okay, in this case this contains the internet address and port of a server, time, it relates to the time, obviously this is a timestamp. Okay, the object number, this is like the message number, and the type of information, be it text, FTP might be used, be it bit streaming or ASCII or whatever. Okay, so this can be related to the interface or the type of interface. So the object or the remote object is made ready for such information. Now, as far as the web services case, DNS here is also used, but is used with a converter. So DNS is used to convert the DNS names, i.e. just a map, into the internet address of a server, just mapping between those two. This is actually based on the MAC addresses. So the number of hops are counted. Each hop relates to a MAC address. The last MAC address is to be used as a final destination. So the client request is sent to that location, end location, okay, where the server dispatcher selects an operation to be performed. Now, the performance of that relies heavily on the number of hops, distances, and what have you.